Hello, welcome to my worship channel. My name is Aromi Aviel. My first name Aromi comes from aroma of Christ, which is referenced in 2 Corinthians 2:15. And my last name Aviel is Hebrew for God is my father. My Korean name is Adam, which means beautiful in Korean, and I'm in my mid-30s and I live in Seoul, South Korea. So what brought me to Korea? Well, I was born in Vancouver, Canada, and I spent my whole life there until I was in my late 20s. And it was then that I decided that I wanted to try something new in my life. I felt like I had spent a lot of time in Canada and there wasn't really anything left for me to do there. I was working, but my job was becoming more and more automatic, and I felt really bored and I just wanted like a new challenge in my life. And at that time I was really into Korean music and culture. I really loved K-pop. I had my favorite K-pop groups and I would watch a lot of Korean TV at home with my parents. And it just seemed like Korea would be such a fun place to live. I would also watch vlogs of foreigners living in Korea, and yeah, it just looked super fun and I really wanted to try living here. A bit about my family background. So I was born into a Christian family. My dad is a pastor, Korean Presbyterian background. Later, he and my mom got really involved in the charismatic movement and they went to a lot of conferences in the States. And so they kind of brought that back to our home church in Canada. They started an English service that was very Pentecostal and charismatic, and so I was able to experience a diverse Christian background growing up. So where did this all start for me? Well, basically it was my childhood dream to be a singer. I always wanted to be like a pop star. I definitely would have auditioned to be a K-pop idol if I lived in Korea at the time, but back then there were no such things as global auditions, and so that never happened. But I remember I always wanted to be in like a girl group with my friends, and I was also interested in dance, but I never pursued it like professionally. I would just take random classes in elementary, middle, high school. In my 20s, I got involved in Latin dance, social dancing. But yeah, I was very curious about worship dance as well. I read a book about worship dance from a leader at Bethel Church in the United States. And yeah, so my eyes started to get open to the field of worship dance, and I thought it was so beautiful and creative and something that I definitely wanted to try as well. And so my dream came true in 2018 when I was able to take my DTS with YWAM in Redding, California, and attend Bethel Church for a few months. And there I was able to take worship dance classes for a few months with the author of the book that I had read and from other teachers as well. I did have some prophetic words that I received during my college years regarding worship and playing piano and also dance, which I thought was interesting because it wasn't something I was actively pursuing at the time. But as we know, God has his timing, and sometimes the words that are spoken over us come to pass years later. So currently, whenever I can, I go to a studio to practice dance, singing, flagging, tambourine, just watching other YouTube videos on techniques. And I definitely prefer spontaneous dance over choreography. I've always found choreography a bit difficult to remember, and so yes, I definitely prefer moving as the spirit leads and as my spirit feels led to move. So to sum up, what I would say I'm passionate about is worship, seeing people come to Jesus, and exploring creative ways to express my love for God. So why did I start this channel? Worship has always been something that I've been passionate about, but for many years I put it in the back burner and focused on and struggled in having a career and other things. As I mentioned before, I took YWAM DTS, and I also took a school of worship after that DTS, but I never steadily led worship until I moved to Korea. Part of this, I think, was because I was very shy when I was younger. I had a lot of fear of man. I definitely was not able to sing in front of people or dance in front of people. I would also move around a lot and change my jobs, change my church a lot. So I never really had a steady foundation in which I felt secure enough to grow in this calling. So what happened last year was I just came to a point where really nothing in my life was working out, and things, not that things had been working out before, but it just became so obvious that everything I was trying wasn't working. And so I had this moment where I just threw my hands up in the air and asked God, like, what do you want me to do? Because everything I'm trying, I have been failing at. And the only thing I knew that He wanted me to do was worship. You know, which doesn't make sense when all you're trying to do is have a steady career, make money, and be stable. But He's telling me to do worship. And this is just a hobby for me. Like, I don't have a way to make money. I'm not a professional. But I decided to just be obedient and start a channel. This also coincided with me turning 33 and realizing I am not getting any younger. It's gonna take a while for me to build up my skills and confidence, so might as well just start. I mean, no start is ever glamorous. You all have to start somewhere. So I talked to a friend who had also been doing YouTube at the time. She shared some tips with me. And basically, a good tip was to just start and to be consistent. So basically, me starting this channel was a combination of obedience and following my heart. For about 8 months, I had Instagram and TikTok where I was uploading versions of my videos, but I have now decided to focus only on YouTube because my goal is to draw people into worship with me, and I feel like YouTube is a better avenue for that. Whereas on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, people's attention spans are a lot shorter. And so this is why I've decided to focus on YouTube. So the direction I want to take with this channel is to cover Christian songs that I like on piano, vocals, dance, and maybe some other instruments, as well as incorporate topics related to the Bible that I find enlightening and or controversial. I'm still quite a shy person. I'm not used to speaking in front of the camera, but there are a few ideas that I feel called to speak on or to share about, and I think it would be really interesting and help to bring in a bit of a wider audience. So I just want to say that if I go a while between uploading videos, I'm probably just really busy with things going on in my life, or I'm taking the time to learn new instrument skills or use editing software. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I'll see you in my next videos. Bye.